From Tebogo breaking the 100-meter record and giving Bolt a run for his money, to the runner waiting in line to crush the sprinting world with his epic skills. Here's what Usain Bolt really thinks of Letsile Tebogo. The veteran Jamaican sprinter needs to watch out because there's a new sheriff in town, and man, is he aiming for Bolt's crown. In fact, he's already knocked it off in Colombia back in 2022. Unless you've been living under a rock, you probably got to catch the young runner's performance making rounds on the internet, and that was one hell of an event. With his lightning-fast speed, leaving everyone behind in the dust, Tebogo sailed through 100 meters, annihilating the previous record and clocking in at a stunning 9.91 seconds. Here's something more shocking. This was actually an improvement of his previous junior world record of 9.94 seconds. But that's not all. Letsile thinks he could have easily gone even faster, but he didn't, only because he didn't want to use too much energy early in his career. Coming back to his performance, the runner knew his fellows at Cali's Pascual Guerrero Stadium would be enjoying the view of his back. Our man breezed through the final 20 meters, but not without taunting his rivals. You heard that right. As soon as he was about to cross the finish line, Letsile turned around and mocked the other sprinters with some funny hand gestures.
But look at Tebogo in the middle. It's Tebogo. He's turning round. He's celebrating. He's pointing the finger at Nkrumah.
If you want to get into the details, chances are he was aiming all this at Bowaji and Nkrumah, the runner who wound up getting a silver medal. Well, who doesn't like an athlete with a little bit of a sense of humor, am I right? For those of you who are wondering, Bolt set the world age group record back in 2002 at the World Junior Championship, and at the time, he was only 15 years old. He crossed the 200 mark at 20.58 seconds, breaking the previously held record of Darrell Brown. Before you get mad at me for not adding Bolt's official 100-meter time, I got some bad news for you all. We'll have to guess that based on his 2002 performance, because he's got no official under 2100-meter time. As for our young sprinter, he got the organizers waving the checkered flag at 19.8 seconds, crossing the 100 mark at 9.91. With all this going on, it makes sense that people are already comparing Bolt and Tebogo. And you know what? The icon even picked up on that. The legend took to his Twitter soon after the competition, where he posted, "World Juniors I see." The legend might have written 4 words, but they were worth 1,000 more. And I bet it was a really proud moment for Tebogo as well. After all, you don't get the ultimate Bolt noticing you every day, and you definitely don't expect him to see you as a threat to his records. But that's exactly how the Jamaican feels. So after all this time, could we finally have a replacement for Bolt? The fans definitely think so. And I'm not shooting in the dark here, because Usain's tweet about the little Tebogo got quite a lot of attention. It gathered over 5,000 likes, with people commenting, "Be careful, Tebogo is coming for your record." Some even told the guy that he wouldn't be able to compete with the new generation of sprinters, seeing how they keep adding a faster and better athlete every so often. But hey, before any Bolt fans get worried, let me just say that none of them have stuck around long enough to really make it. It's always the same question. Will this racer be the new Usain Bolt? But the void is still very much there, so we shouldn't be getting ahead of ourselves. Or at least that's what Letsile thinks. Now remember the early celebrations I was talking about? When the sprinter mocked his rivals mid-run? That reminded everyone of Bolt and his usual early celebration on the track back in the day when he was still an active sprinter, and especially that one time at the 2008 Beijing Games. Anyone who watched that jumped straight to conclusions, claiming that the younger sprinter was gunning for Bolt's spot, until Letsile offered an explanation, saying he didn't mean anything as disrespect, and also apologized to anyone who was offended by that. He said the gestures were only for everyone back home so they could enjoy the race. In his words, it was to remind them about what Usain Bolt did back in the day, which brings me back to the comparisons between him and Bolt. Well, Tebogo swore he could have just as easily clocked 9.8 seconds, but he held back since he had more races to come, and he didn't want to peak too soon. Oh, and did you know that as soon as the runner took his first step on the track, he already knew the title was his? But according to Letsile, this sprint was all in good fun, and he finally got something to leave behind with the under 20 world title. You know, something the future generations would try and top. Either way, don't you think it's a big deal for our little sprinter? Because the fans' reactions to his performance have been insane. They even went as far as declaring the young runner a new icon of the sport, predicting some future beef between him and Bolt. But if you ask me, I think the Jamaican's happy that someone finally matched his performance after 20 years. So I'm not too sure about the rivalry here. Apart from this, fans are sure that Letsile is the future of the sport with his impeccable performance, calling his style respectfully disrespectful. Plus, remember his early celebrations we were talking about a while ago? Well, fans think he should should have put that on hold, because they clearly slowed him down toward the end. Believe me, I know all about being petty, but sabotaging your performance just to make funny gestures at your competition, I don't think it's worth it. Coming to the real question, does Tebogo have what it takes to be the next Bolt? Now that's a tricky question, because technically the guy's already defeated the Jamaican sprinter. But we all know that Bolt only got better as he grew old, much like his running style, where he gained more and more energy as he got closer to the finish line. Letsile might be better than a young Bolt, but the Jamaican at his peak, that's a whole other story. I mean, it's been 13 years since Bolt set the senior men's records in the 100 and 200 meter, and I don't know about you, but I don't see anyone crashing that soon. During the World Athletics Championship back in 2009, Usain set the 100-meter record with his mark of 9.58 seconds. Followed by the 200-meter record, which he clocked at 19.19 seconds. Now, remember I said that there might be bucket loads of new talent, but hardly anyone had what it takes to make it stick? Turns out I was right and it didn't stick. 2023 became the first year for Letsile to race in the senior ranks, and it looks like he's got a lot more to learn, at least for now. By 22, the Jamaican sprinter was in full swing and collecting titles left and right. But at 20, that's hardly the case for Tebogo. Don't get me wrong, his start was amazing, because they don't call him a prodigy for nothing. And who knows, with a little more practice, Tebogo will be able to get there eventually. After all, he's only the third junior to run under 10 seconds. And on top of that, he even has 3 of the fastest junior times in history, which were all set between April and August last year, showing the much-needed consistency. But his performance isn't exactly the same anymore, with his fastest run of 2023 coming at a slow-paced 10.09 seconds. Tebogo's nothing like the teenager who dominated the juniors in 2022. And if you're wondering, his overall rankings aren't looking so good either, because his time puts him at the 56th place right now. And just for comparison, Ferdinand Omanyala currently dominates the senior men's times with a mighty 9.84. But that doesn't mean it's time to roll the credits on the young sprinter's career. The guy's only getting started, and we've even seen some development at his end, and chances are he'll soon be making a beeline for the podium.
Tebogo is away and sprinting, and he's making them look like second-raters. Keep your eyes on the clock. It's 5 or 6 meters.
So there you have it. From the runner waiting in line to crush the sprinting world with his epic skills, to Tebogo breaking the 100-meter record, giving Bolt a run for his money. That's what Usain Bolt really thinks of Letsile Tebogo.
First time I won a proper gold medal, I mean a world gold medal, and it was in front of my people. That's where it all started.